Winter arrived suddenly in a small north town, as it usually does. Just yesterday Anna was squinting from the bright sun, filtering through the bare branches, jumping over dried puddles and enjoying the good weather. Today, however, the sky was covered with a thick grey blanket, pouring tons of white flakes onto the city and all its inhabitants, and yesterday's puddles had turned into treacherous ice patches, hidden under a layer of fresh snow. Anna looked out the window sadly and thought only about how to get home quickly, make herself a hot tea, wrap herself in a blanket, and temporarily escape the surrounding chaos by immersing herself in the happy, fictional world of another TV series. Anna's own life, that of a young, attractive woman, was far from a TV series. At best, it resembled a low-budget one, with the most ordinary script. At 36, Anna could boast of little more than a degree she had once received at the university. Thanks to this diploma, she had secured a job as a technologist at one of the local enterprises, where she had worked ever since. 9 years ago she met Stephen, a handsome and talented guy dreaming of a musical career. Saying the girl fell in love at first sight would be an understatement. Their romance ignited like a Bengal light. Steve courted her beautifully, dedicated ballads to her, and constantly arranged romantic surprises. Anna didn't mind at all that Stephen's pockets were always empty. She saw immense talent in him and was ready to help in any way she could. Anna had high hopes and expectations for their marriage, but after a couple of years of living together, she realized that most of them would never come true. Stephen, whom she loved madly, turned out to be far from the prince he had seemed at the beginning of their relationship. He was an extremely ambitious, rarely able to communicate without raising his voice, couldn't stand criticism, and often slammed the door if the terms of cooperation even slightly differed from his demands. In a few years of living together, Stephen had only managed to sell his compositions successfully a few times, completely giving up further rights to them. More often he performed in some run-down bars at punk concerts, spent summers near one of the city squares with his guitar, and in winter he would lock himself in a small room of their rented apartment, equipped as a sound recording studio. Entry there was forbidden even to Anna. When Stephen was working, he couldn't be distracted. Any casual word or knock on the door would set the man off. Over 9 years, Anna had learned this rule and didn't interfere unnecessarily. She herself didn't know why, but she believed that one day her husband would achieve his goal and become a renowned musician. But time passed and nothing changed. Stephen was stuck in a state of perpetual creative crisis. More and more often, he would lock himself in his room with a beer. Anna knew very well that the guitar was gathering dust in the corner, just like the beat machine she had given him for the last New Year. The same fate befell the microphone, some fancy speakers, a drum kit, and much more. With her salary, Anna couldn't always afford such expensive purchases. Some of them were bought on credit. Stephen himself didn't work. He claimed that his genius deserved more than a job at a factory, a bar counter, or, God forbid, delivering groceries. Strangely enough, Anna agreed with him. She did everything to ensure that her beloved's talent did not fade. She continued to buy the musical instruments he asked for, paid for his trips to creative gatherings, and didn't burden him with paying for groceries, utilities, and other expenses. Anna denied everything for herself, rarely updated her wardrobe, saved on cosmetics, and couldn't even remember the last time she used perfume. She was up to her ears in debt. Her colleagues shook their heads, hinting that pulling the family alone was not the best decision, especially with a healthy man around. But she had gotten used to it. This way of life had become deeply ingrained in her, becoming not just a habit, but something natural and inseparable. Anna told herself that this was true love, sacrifice, compassion, and what filled her life with meaning. It didn't matter that it was hard, because at home there was always someone ready to hug her if she felt bad, or cheer her up if she was sad. Getting out of her office, Anna shivered from the cold and pulled up the collar of her thin coat. "Wow, it's freezing," she thought, shocked. "It must be around 10 degrees. And look at all this snow. Is this all of it? Winter. Well, in this coat I'll freeze to death, and I didn't even wear a thick scarf today. Oh well. I'll quickly run to the bus stop, and then I'll warm up on the bus." The woman headed towards the bus stop. The roads were chaotic. The sudden snowfall, as usual, paralysed all movement. At the turn, with hazard lights flashing, stood cars that had collided. People crowded on a tiny spot. Apparently the bus hadn't come for a long time. Anna checked the transport app to see the schedule. According to it, the bus should have arrived in a couple of minutes. However, it didn't come even after 15 minutes. Some people gave up and called a taxi, others continued to wait, and some decided to walk. Anna was freezing. The wind penetrated under her coat, trying to get into the sleeves and collar. Trying to warm up somehow, Anna swayed slightly. When more than 40 minutes had passed, the woman decided not to wait any longer and walk. That was a mistake. As soon as Anna moved about 200 metres away from the stop, the bus finally arrived. The woman ran back, but she slipped on an icy puddle hidden under the snow and fell into a snowdrift, painfully hitting her elbow. Some woman helped her up, but the chance was missed. With its rear lights flashing, the bus disappeared into the snowy evening darkness. Anna even cried out of frustration. Waiting for the next one was pointless. Obviously, due to the bad weather, the transport was running with significant delays, and the schedule was useless. Limping through the snowy slush, Anna slowly made her way home. "At this rate I'll easily catch a cold," she fumed. "And of course my down jacket is completely worn out. I've been wearing it for 6 years already. The zipper's broken and the fabric on the sleeves is worn out. It's not a jacket, it's a disgrace. I planned to buy a new one in the spring. There were sales in the summer, but I missed it. What an idiot. No, I need to solve this problem urgently. Money is tight, but I won't even make it to work like this. And soon the frosts will be even stronger. Of course, I could change the zipper on the old jacket, but how much longer? I could stop skimping on myself. Why do we always buy new things for Stephen every year? But I don't even notice that I have nothing to wear myself. He just sits at home. There are already about 10 of these jackets in the closet." Somehow, making it home, the woman rushed into the entrance and leaned against the radiator by the mailboxes. Warmth slowly spread through her body. Although there was no wind here, Anna called the elevator and went up to her floor. "I'm home," she shouted, opening the door. "Good for you," Stephen grumbled, appearing in the doorway. "Have you seen the time? Where have you been?" "Stephen, I'm so cold," Anna whispered, her teeth chattering. "I even had to walk part of the way. You should have seen what's happening outside. The transport has completely stopped." "Oh, for God's sake, why do you always attract problems?" Stephen retorted. "I don't attract anything. Anything can happen in life. If I had waited for the bus, I would have frozen to death first, and who knows how long it would have taken to get home. At least I warmed up a bit this way." "Well, you always have some problems," Stephen grumbled. "Are you serious? I'm freezing. Can you make some tea?" "Make it yourself," Stephen scowled. "I have a recording session, and I've been on pause for too long already." "What recording session?" Anna asked, annoyed. "Stephen, are you playing again? We agreed that you wouldn't get distracted by the console for at least a week." "I need this. I explained to you that this is how I relax, and my brain starts working better. By the way, I almost composed a great song today." "Almost," Anna sneered. "And what prevented you from finishing it?" "I was worried about you. You could have called and said you were running late, and I couldn't find a place for myself, so I went to play the game." "And you didn't think to call yourself if you were so worried?" "I didn't want to distract you, Anna, but you know how anxious I am. I even managed to get upset with you. Okay, I'll make the tea so you don't get angry, and you prepare dinner. I'm so hungry." "What do you mean?" Anna asked, frowning. "You've been home all day, and I couldn't even prepare dinner?" "All the products are here. What stopped you?" "You know I can't cook," Stephen said, offended, "and it's not a man's job anyway." "Listen, you're out of line." Anna suddenly got furious. "I can't even come up with excuses for you anymore. Is it so difficult to boil some pasta or make some cutlets? I'm not asking you to cook soup, bake a leg of lamb or any other delicacies. I'm tired. I'm freezing in a thin coat, and you didn't even hug me when I came home. You met me with complaints, didn't even offer tea. Are you okay? Cooking and cleaning are my responsibilities. I bring money into the house. And I have to walk on tiptoes. You play to relieve your stress, and who will restore my nerves? Let me sit down at the console now and see what happens." "Anna, what's gotten into you?" Stephen was taken aback. "I just miscalculated a bit. I'll do everything now. Just boil the pasta yourself, okay? I promise that starting tomorrow, I will prepare dinner for us. I'll learn from videos and internet recipes." "Always your tomorrows." Anna sighed heavily. "You should think about work. You're a grown man and you're sitting on my neck. I'm not made of iron, you know. There are plenty of options. You can even get a job as a labourer at our enterprise. They'll teach you everything." "To the factory?" Stephen scowled. "Anna, I can't go to the factory. It's degrading. A creative person can't go there." "Degrading, you say? In your opinion, it's normal for the wife of such a creative and versatile person as you to work at the factory? And it's okay that I have to work for two, and that you can relax here in warmth and comfort? Okay, then let's not go to the factory. There are plenty of other options. And I'm not asking you to work full-time, but at least consider part-time options. You just don't want to. Okay, let's go to the kitchen. I need to warm up urgently. I'll fall if I don't." By the evening, the spouses had forgotten about the conflict. Anna warmed up, ate, and came to her senses as soon as she snuggled up to her husband lying on the couch. "Listen, Steve," she suddenly said. "I didn't take an extra shift tomorrow. It's Saturday after all. I'm so tired of working with only one day off a week. Yes, I understand we need money, but if I continue like this without a break, I'll just collapse. And I need to go to the city tomorrow. There's a good store in the centre. They have down jackets on sale. I froze to the bone today. It's not an option to walk in a coat, especially since they're predicting frost next week. I'll have to tighten our belt a bit. There's no money at all, but without warm clothes, I won't even make it to work. So this is a necessity, not a whim." "What do you mean, tighten our belt?" Stephen propped himself up on his elbow. "Well, I mean we will have to save on groceries, for example. And I suggest not repaying some of your subscriptions for now. We can do without music for a month, and you can drink less beer. I don't know. I've already calculated. It should be enough for everything, but we need to cut out all the extras." "What do you mean, cancel subscriptions? Do you think I sit here all day watching series? By the way, the most expensive subscription is to music program, and I can't do without it. All the good plugins and instruments are there." "You're not listening to me, are you?" Anna looked at her husband from under her brow. "I'm telling you, it's temporary. You can write music without any programs. For now, make drafts and then pay and do whatever you need." "You just don't understand." Stephen got angry. "I'm struggling here within four walls, and you're suggesting I cut the budget even more. Why the hell do you need this down jacket? Last year's isn't good enough." "First of all, it's not just last year's," Anna began to explain patiently, although she was already boiling inside. "It's 6 years old. Secondly, I'm freezing in it. Do you want me to die in bed with a fever?" "Well, the sick leave is paid anyway." "Are you completely stupid? What does sick leave have to do with it? And what will I wear in January? The same thin coat? Oh, of course, I can take one of your 10 useless jackets. Are you kidding? They're 3 sizes too big for you. Don't embarrass yourself. Those are my jackets. Anna was stunned by such insolence. She looked at her husband for a long time, her lips tightly pressed together, and then something clicked in her head. The woman freed herself from his embrace and silently headed to the kitchen. "Hey, Anna, where are you going?" Anna stopped and turned around. Catching his gaze, Stephen shuddered. Usually light green, Anna's eyes were now dark, somewhat dull emerald, and seemed to see through everything around. "What happened?" "What happened, you ask? I will tell you now. How dare you even say anything to me? Who are you, anyway?" "Good Lord, have you lost your mind?" the man recoiled. "I'm Stephen, your husband." "No," Anna widened her eyes. "You are anyone but my husband. A husband would not wipe his feet on his own wife. He would not see her as a servant and a maid. He would not offer her to warm up with layers of sweaters when there is nothing to wear. He would not endlessly drain money from her for his stupid whims. He would not forget to make her tea if she is late, and he certainly would not make her work around the clock to pay for food, apartment, and his clothes. And do you know what a husband does? Do you know? At the very least, he hugs his wife after a hard day, warms her, asks how she is. He cooks his own dinner if he is hungry and she is not home for some reason. He does not whine that he needs to pay for some useless subscription from her wallet. And most importantly, do you know what is most important, Stephen? You're silent. It seems you really have no idea. And the most important thing, husband, is that a good husband would not sit on his wife's neck for years, avoiding any work just because he thinks he is a great genius that ordinary mortals are not even allowed to look at. Anna, have you lost your mind? Shut up already, Anna screamed. No one gave you the right to speak now. I have endured for so many years, obediently eating all the nonsense you successfully fed me, not noticing the mockery of those who saw how you treated me like an animal. When was the last time you brought any money home, huh? Don't remember, neither do I. Imagine that. I don't remember because I am the one working for 2. You have latched onto me like a tick and take everything without giving anything in return. Or what do you give? Blink your pretty eyes, drag me to bed. Believe me, I can do without all of that. Do you even know how much debt I have on my credit cards? And did I spend a single penny of it on myself? All on your endless guitars, drums, sneakers that gather dust on the shelves because you do nothing but play and drink beer. I have no friends, no hobbies, not even a damn lipstick. But I have you and a pile of debt. No, Stephen, I've had enough. Anna, what are you freaking out about? Is all this because of the jacket? Fine, go get it tomorrow. I could even come with you. Even, Anna laughed. Even? Go to hell. That's it, my dear. You've gone too far. Pack your things and get out. I don't want to see or know you any more. I'm not going anywhere, the frightened man muttered in a colourless tone, not expecting such words and behaviour from his wife. Anna had always been calm and patient. That made her even more terrifying now. It was as if she were a completely different person. Anna, let's calm down. You're saying all of this for nothing. Believe me, you'll regret it later. I'll regret it, the woman laughed. Oh, don't make me laugh. You seem to have gotten used to living on Easy Street. But I am not your mummy who will provide a comfortable life for you. I want to live for myself too. And thank God I froze so much today. Finally, my mind sobered up in this cold, and now I see everything clearly. without the rose-coloured glasses you so diligently kept on my eyes. I'm filing for divorce, right away." "I won't give you a divorce," Stephen objected. "Really? Who will even ask you? We have no children, no joint property. You can take your crappy guitars with you. I don't need them. I will pay for them myself. Everything I owe to the bank. Oh, by the way, the debts are split in half during a divorce, dear hubby. So that's even better. And now pack your things and get out." "No," Stephen smirked. "You know what? I get it. You're just having a fit. Go to bed and we'll talk tomorrow with a fresh mind. I promise I'll find a job, if that's what you want." "Here we go again. Don't want to leave? Fine, I'll leave myself," said Anna, and turned to the door. "I won't let you go." The husband shook his head. "Where will you go? It's night outside." "I'm not asking you. If you try to stop me, I'll call the police. And now, don't bother me." The woman grabbed a large sports bag in the hallway and started throwing everything she could find into it. Several times, Stephen tried to stop her, but Anna pushed him away, surprised at her own strength. When her things were packed, she changed and went out into the hallway. With sadness, Anna looked at her thin autumn coat, then turned her gaze to Stephen, who was silently sitting on the couch and didn't dare look at her. The woman smirked, wrapped a warm scarf around herself, pulled on a thick knitted hat, and slammed the door. Already downstairs, she sent her husband one last message. "Rent is due in a week. Don't even think I'll come back. Figure it out yourself." Closing her eyes, she stepped out onto the street, into nowhere. Heavily trudging through the snow-covered sidewalk, Anna cried, but the tears dried instantly from the cold, biting wind. She didn't know where to go, where to sleep, or what to do next. The woman had no friends. She couldn't go back to her hometown, to her parents. She would have to hurriedly quit her job, let people down. And what would she do there? The only person she could turn to now was her boss, Sarah. Anna had known this woman for many years. Although their relationship was strictly professional, her boss always supported her, taught her a lot, and never turned her back when Anna asked for help. True, this help usually concerned work situations or, at most, money. What will I tell her? Anna thought. It's almost midnight. It's inconvenient to call her now, let alone ask to stay the night. But I can't sleep on the street. A hotel is too expensive. Yes, I have money set aside for rent, but it will only last for a week in a hotel. And I need to buy that damn jacket urgently. Anna turned into a 24-hour fast food joint, got herself a cup of tea, and sat in a corner. When her hands warmed up a bit from the cold and her nerves calmed down from the hot drink, she dialed her boss's number. Sarah was very surprised to hear her subordinate's voice on the other end of the line. "What happened? You're calling so late. I decided to come in tomorrow." "I'm sorry, Sarah," Anna began, but she couldn't finish and burst into tears over the phone. "Good Lord, Anna, what's wrong?" the woman said in alarm. "Are you okay?" "I'm sorry," Anna sobbed. "I had a terrible quarrel with my husband. I'm sitting in a cafe now. I don't know where to go. I left him. You see, I can't take it anymore. I've endured for so many years, but today something finally broke." "Now, calm down," Sarah said sternly. "You did the right thing. It was long overdue. It's a shame you acted so rashly, without preparing a way out, so to speak. But sometimes you have to gather your willpower and decide. Where are you now?" "Let me call you a taxi. You'll come to my place, tell me everything, and then we'll decide what to do next." Half an hour later, Anna stood in the hallway of her boss's apartment, looking down. "Good Lord, your coat is so thin," Sarah exclaimed. "And you're sniffling. It looks like you're getting sick. All right, quickly to the kitchen. My husband is sleeping. We won't wake him up. We'll talk quietly." Anna obediently took off her coat and tiptoed into the kitchen. "So tell me," Sarah asked, rustling a pack of tea, "how did you end up like this?" The playful tone of Sarah and the thick aroma of some berries and herbs emanating from the teapot calmed Anna a bit. "It's all because of the jacket," the young woman sighed. "I was so cold today and just told him that we would have to save on food and expenses for a couple of weeks. And he looked at me so indifferently. I've never seen that before. Or maybe I just didn't notice it earlier." "Oh dear, when was the last time you were in a beauty salon? Or on vacation? Do you even know how many days you have accumulated? It's none of my business to interfere in someone else's life, but what's happening to you is wrong." "I already understand that, and it's a shame that only today—" Anna sighed. "But now it's over. I know for sure that I won't go back." At that moment the phone rang, displaying Stephen's number. Anna automatically reached for it, but then pulled her hand back. "See?" Sarah pointed her chin at the smartphone. "He doesn't seem to think so. Don't you dare answer." "I wasn't planning to," Anna muttered. "Let him suffer. He knows very well that I have nowhere to go, and probably thinks that I will clear my head and come back soon. He is right about one thing. I really have nowhere to go." "All right." Sarah shook her head, pouring more herbal tea into Anna's cup. "Drink, drink. My son brought these herbs from the mountains. They're fresh. He travels a lot around the country. He's a geologist, by the way. Anyway, that's not relevant. Anna, you did the right thing. Don't regret anything. Tell me, do you have any money?" "A little. I have enough for the rent and some left from my salary." "All right then. Tomorrow you will buy the jacket you wanted. Don't touch the rest for now. You might need it later. You can stay with me for now." "Oh, I couldn't." Anna waved her hands. "I'll rent a room tomorrow." "Don't even think about it. I have a spare room. My son's room is empty anyway. You can stay in it for now. He won't be back from his expedition for a while. And you also need to recover. Starting Monday, you'll go on vacation." "What vacation? Sarah, are you serious?" Anna was horrified. "The most ordinary one. Although yes, you've probably forgotten what that is. It's on your schedule anyway, so don't worry about the paperwork. There are others who can work. You'll have a proper rest, recover, and then you'll return to your duties with a fresh mind. You won't be of any use anyway while you're so upset about leaving your husband. Don't forget that he won't let you go easily either. He's a parasite. Without his provider, he'll do anything to get his comfortable life back, and women don't always act rationally when it comes to men. You might give in, and everything will start all over again." "I won't give in," Anna protested. "But you're right, Stephen has the brains to chase after me, especially since he has no money to pay for the apartment, and the food in the fridge will run out soon." "That's not your problem anymore," Sarah smiled softly. "The more time you spend without him, the easier it will be. And it's best to change your phone number so he won't bother you. It's better if you just disappear. If he comes to your work, I'll warn the security at the entrance that you won't work there anymore. So, starting today, you live here. And don't worry, you're not burdening anyone. My husband Neil is disabled. He's always home, but he hardly ever leaves his workshop. And he's a good person. He won't be against you. On the contrary, he'll enjoy the company. You'll like it here. You can even rent this room later if you feel uncomfortable living for free, although I certainly don't need that. What about your son? Roy? Don't worry about him at all. He has his own apartment, but it's empty. He's always travelling, and when he comes back he stays with us because he doesn't like living alone. He knows he's always welcome and loved here. Don't worry, he won't kick you out. He'll sleep peacefully at his own place. He's a reasonable person. He'll understand." "All right," Anna sighed. "But I'll still try to find a place to live as soon as possible." In the morning, Anna woke up to a magical aroma wafting from under the door. It smelled like sweet pastries. Her stomach growled traitorously. "Good Lord, it's so awkward to take advantage of someone's kindness," she thought. It's even embarrassing to leave the room and look Sarah in the eye. And I'll have to explain to her husband who I am and what I'm doing here. Oh well, I'll have to endure it for a little while. I'll move out at the first opportunity. Currently, though, I should rest and get my thoughts in order. After getting dressed, Anna left the bedroom and immediately bumped into Sarah in the hallway. "Oh, you're already up. I was just coming to wake you." "I'm sorry I slept so long. I don't even know why. Usually I wake up at 8 at the latest, even on weekends." "Stop apologising for everything. Here, you're a guest, in a way. Allow yourself to relax. We'll take care of the rest with my husband. By the way, let's go to the kitchen quickly. Neil is eager to meet you. And the pies are ready." Anna followed the hostess into the kitchen. Neil was sitting sipping tea and reaching for another pie. "Good morning," Anna smiled at him. "Good morning, dear guest." Neil waved to her. Only now did Anna notice that one of his eyes was covered with a bandage. "Don't be embarrassed," Sarah smiled. "What kind of pies do you like? These are with cabbage, these are with apples, and those are with fish." "Oh, I like all kinds," Anna laughed. "It's so unusual for someone else to cook and not me." "You'll get used to the good life quickly," said Neil. "Sarah won't let you work in the kitchen. She's the queen and the boss here. Look how thin you are. My dear wife will fix that quickly." "Thank you." Tears welled up in Anna's eyes. "I didn't expect anyone to care about me." "Oh, come on," said Sarah, placing her hand on Anna's shoulder. "My dear girl, stop demeaning yourself and thinking you're worthless. You are a good person and a fine professional. Over the years of our acquaintance, I have seen this time and again. Put an end to your self-pity. Now, let's have breakfast, and then we'll go together to get your jacket." "I'm all done," laughed Neil. "Thank you, Sarah, for such a hearty meal. I'll head to my place, and you two can chat here for a while. I'll have plenty of time to speak with the young lady later, so please excuse me. Duty calls." When Neil left, Anna looked questioningly at her boss. "If it's not a secret, what does Neil have to do on a weekend?" "Ah, that old pirate," Sarah squinted. "Don't pay him any mind. He'll spend the morning in his workshop, building his ships. He might show you later, if he'd like to. He's been into modelling for about 12 years, ever since he retired due to disability. He used to be a captain on a cargo ship. His whole life was spent at sea, but after an accident when he lost an eye, he had to retire. It doesn't bother him, but the sea never lets him go. Neil makes model sailboats to order. It keeps him busy and brings in some extra money for the family. Our son Roy took after him, with the same passion for adventure since childhood. He studied to be a geologist and now sails the northern seas, working for some oil and gas company. Someday I'll introduce you two. Roy's a good guy. He was married once, but that woman can't stand her husband always being away. I was like that once. I wouldn't see Neil for half a year at a time, but I got used to it, and Roy will find the right woman for himself someday. Everyone has a soulmate out there." "I'm not so sure about that soulmate thing," sighed Anna. "I spent 9 years with my husband, truly believing he was the one. I thought he was a real genius, even if unrecognised. I was ready to do anything just so he could create. But it turned out he was just a lazy man taking advantage of me." "It's not your fault. Your Stephen is just a skilled manipulator. Yes, you allowed him to use you, didn't set boundaries in time, and all that. You should have kicked him out as soon as you realised you were being taken for granted. I know how hard-working and determined you are. You need a man who matches you, so find a way to forget your husband quickly. First, don't delay the divorce." "But I still love him," Anna said despairingly. "Maybe he'll learn from this and find a job." "Don't even think he'll find a job and change now. People don't change, that's a fact, especially at his age. You might influence a child or a teenager, but not a 35-year-old man. Yes, he might change some habits for a while, But as soon as you fall back into his trap, he'll slowly return to his old ways. Believe me, I've seen a lot in my life. You, my dear, deserve better. Love is a mutual feeling. Your Stephen doesn't love you. Otherwise, he would take care of you. What you mistake for love is actually dependence. But how do I get him out of my head? Yesterday I was so angry at Stephen, but now I think I overreacted. You didn't overreact. You did what was necessary. You broke ties with a parasite. Yes, it will be hard at first. The void in your soul will only grow. But you're not weak, Sarah said, stroking Anna's head. You're just afraid. Afraid of loneliness. But in reality, you were more alone with that man than you are now. The illusions of love and care, the strong shoulder he created to get what he wanted, will gradually fade. Now you need to find something to fill that void in your soul. Are you suggesting I find someone new? No, Sarah laughed, shaking her head. It's too soon for that. And it's not a given that you need someone at all. Maybe you're meant to be alone but self-sufficient. Some women live for motherhood. But who would I have a child with? And it's too late for me now. I've already raised one for 9 years. And having a child without a loved one is not much joy. Wait, don't rush. Age is not a barrier here. First, find yourself, and then think about a child, so you have something to offer besides material goods. As soon as you find yourself, everything will fall into place. A husband, recognition, and the right environment. And then a child won't be far off. So for now, think about your calling. Being an engineer, even a good one, isn't always a calling. It's your skill, a well-honed, almost flawless skill. I wouldn't trade you for 3 others. But it's not what your soul yearns for. You need a hobby, something that will make you soar, not just making in money. And what does my soul yearn for? How should I know? Sarah laughed. Only you know that. Now you have the time to figure it out. Watch Neil as he builds his ships. His hobby became a lifesaver. Neil gets so absorbed in the process, and he's happy. I see it in his smile and his actions. And you, my dear, need to find what makes you happy. Our world is a reflection of ourselves. If you keep pitying yourself and letting others use you, the world will conform to that. But if you learn to love yourself, the world will love you too. That's the golden rule. And now, let's go get your jacket. Promise me you won't try to save money. Choose the one you like at first sight. Understood? But there you go with but again. As long as you keep finding excuses to deny yourself immediate pleasure, nothing will work out. I've arranged your vacation, so your vacation pay will be coming soon. What better reason to spend it? And don't worry about a roof over your head. You'll soon experience what it's like to live without being harnessed to a plough, just for yourself. Early on Monday morning, after Sarah had left for work, Anna drank her coffee and tried to find something to occupy herself with. She sat in the kitchen, browsing through craft websites, when Neil entered. "Well, how are you doing, young lady?" he asked cheerfully. "I'm trying to figure out what I'm passionate about, following Sarah's advice," Anna replied sadly. "I've never even had a hobby. There are so many ideas online. Publishing, soap making, painting. But I'm not creative at all. I can't do anything. You look at other people's work and realise how talented they are, and I'm just worthless." "Oh, nonsense," the man said, sitting down across from her. "You know, I used to think my hands were only good for the helm. I sailed and sailed. Then, bam, I lost an eye and became disabled. At first, I struggled with idleness. I was used to always being on the move. I sat around for 6 months. Then Roy gave me a model of a battleship for a holiday. It still sits on my shelf. Oh, I struggled with it for a long time. First, I had to glue everything together, then paint it by hand. Want to see it?" "Can I?" Anna's eyes lit up. "Why not?" the man smiled. "Though I rarely let anyone into my workshop, it looks like you need it." Neil gently pushed open the door to his room. The space was filled with sunlight, in which dust particles danced. It smelled of varnish and wood. This scent immediately filled Anna with a sense of peace and joy. The woman looked enchanted at the contents of the shelves filling the space. Sailboats of all kinds proudly displayed their sharp bows. Their hulls gleamed with varnish, and their sails billowed. "How beautiful!" Anna exclaimed, barely breathing. Even speaking amidst all this splendour seemed impolite, unethical. "Did you make all of this?" "This is just a small part," Neil chuckled. "Most of these are for sale, waiting for their new owners. But there are some models I wouldn't part with for any amount of money. Look here." The man led Anna to a small pedestal on which sat a sailboat of remarkable beauty. "This is my Meg, my firstborn. I named her Meg after my mother. Roy didn't even know what his gift would turn into." "Wow, such detail! It must have taken a lot of time to work on it," Anna marvelled. When you enjoy the work, you don't notice anything or anyone around you. But imagine the joy of seeing the result. Yes, I spent about 5 months on Meg. Now it takes a little over a week to assemble one model, not counting drying and polishing. But back then everything was new and a lot didn't work out. But I learned to work with paints, trained myself to be patient, and even set the sails myself. Sarah is happy when I come out of the workshop satisfied and show her my latest creation. Although I know she often grumbles that I sit alone for a long time and don't let her into the process. But creativity is a solitary endeavour. Any noise can interfere with doing it the way you initially wanted. And sometimes it's the opposite. I listen to Sarah's cheerful chatter in the kitchen and an idea comes to mind. The model of a sailboat should be accurate, but over the years I've developed my own style and sometimes allow myself some liberties. People line up for these liberties. "And how much are people willing to pay for such beauty?" Anna asked. "Quite a bit," the man laughed. "But for me, money is not the main thing. You see, when you see the eyes of a satisfied customer, you forget your back hurts from sitting for a long time and your fingers are sore from paints and varnish." "May I try it?" Anna suddenly asked. "Go ahead. I won't trust you with the fine work just yet. But if it turns out well, who knows? Here, sit down. You can varnish the deck on this beauty." Neil sat Anna down at the table and placed a small jar of dark, thick varnish in front of her. "Hold the brush like this, gently, as if it's the most precious thing in your life. Carefully dip it and make long, confident strokes along the entire surface. And don't shake too much. In the worst case, we can wash it off and start over." Anna gently took the brush and started working. At first it didn't go well. The varnish dried quickly, leaving gaps. But under Neil's careful guidance, the work went faster. Anna felt an unfamiliar confidence. But it wasn't just that. The process was like a kind of meditation. With each stroke of the brush, the woman became immersed in the task, forgetting everything else. Her insecurity, sorrows and worries vanished. "See? And you said you're not a creative person. Anna, you're doing very well. I would even say you have a real talent for this. A little practice and you'll surpass me." "Oh, come on," she smiled. "It's just varnish. I could never put together an entire ship." "Why not? Let's try it. I have a simple model right here." The man climbed a small stepladder and took a box from the shelf. "Look, this is an Italian tartana. There's not much work here, but you'll have to deal with some details. Let's glue a few parts now and put them under pressure, and we'll join what we can dry." The process went quickly. When Neil announced that they were done for the day, Anna was almost disappointed. "Don't worry, we can continue tomorrow. You're doing well. So right after breakfast, I'll expect you here. Agreed? Of course. I didn't think it would be so engaging, Anna rejoiced. This is just the beginning. Neil winked mysteriously with his one eye. Give it time, young lady. I'll make a real captain out of you. Anna came to life. For a whole week, she barely left Neil's workshop. The Tatana gradually took the shape of a ship. With each glued plank and each attached mast, the woman's mood improved. She became so engrossed in the process that in the evenings she voraciously consumed any information about ancient sailing ships, their varieties, and history. Neil happily taught her the basics of the craft, while Sarah could only marvel. I struggled with one, and now there's another. The woman laughed. Do you like it, Anna? I love it, her protege said with a wide smile. It seems this is precisely what you were talking about. Neil says I have talent. I can't even imagine how I'll go back to work now. And what will I do when I move out of your place? No one is chasing you away, dear. Stay as long as you need. And I'm glad you found a hobby. You look like a person now, not a gloomy shadow. Your cheeks are rosy and there's a sparkle in your eyes that anyone would envy. As for work, no more extra shifts. Now, you need to spend all your spare time on yourself, not on making money. You're on your own now. No one is taking money from you. You'll gradually sort out your debts. And if your work takes off, I think you'll have additional income. Right, dear? Indeed, the man grunted. You can't find such a student anywhere. There are many orders and I can't always handle them alone. Together, we can please more clients. So, Anna, it's all in your hands. The next day, Anna entered the workshop as usual and began her work. She enjoyed not only sitting over the Tatana model, but also listening for hours to Neil's stories about distant seas, interesting and unusual incidents from his past work. They talked at length about life and people. Well, I think it's time to promote you to a sailor, the man announced, examining another part Anna had assembled. At that moment, the doorbell rang. Who could that be? Anna froze. The thought flashed through her mind that it was Stephen, who had found her and was now trying to win her back. Shuffling in his slippers, Neil went to open the door. He was gone for a couple of minutes, and then the woman heard approaching voices. She froze again. No, Anna thought. If it was Stephen, Neil wouldn't even let him in the door. And yet... Anna? The host's head appeared in the doorway. Come out for a minute. Taking a deep breath, the girl obeyed and headed into the hallway. Neil stood there, mysteriously squinting, accompanied by an unfamiliar man. At the sight of the latter, Anna's breath caught. He was a tall, dark-haired, handsome man about her age. His face was adorned with a rough stubble and a dark tan, against which the stranger's eyes seemed surprisingly blue and deep. Meet Roy, my son, and this is the lovely young lady, our protégée, Anna. Very pleased to meet you, Anna. Roy greeted her with a deep baritone. I didn't expect that in my absence my parents wouldn't be bored at all. I see, Dad, you even let her into the workshop. Not just let her in, Neil interrupted. Anna is officially my student and is a very promising model maker. Really? The young man squinted. Glad to hear it. I hope you're not too hard on her, Dad. I know your methods. Methods? Anna has talent. I don't need any methods. Got it, Roy conceded, raising his hands. I'm only here for a week. There was a break in the expedition. Sometimes you just want to return to civilization. Mum will be pleased. You should have told us in advance. We could have prepared. What's there to prepare? Roy laughed. The main thing is that you're here. Seeing Anna for a moment, I thought Mum was again trying to find me a wife. Oh, Sonny, don't you go getting any ideas about Anna. She's having a hard time with her divorce. Is that so? All right, I'll keep that in mind. Roy laughed, and Anna blushed deeply. I'll go take a shower then, and we'll chat later. Excuse me, Anna, can I come in? Roy knocked on the door of his bedroom. "Oh," Anna blushed. "Yes, of course. It's just a bit awkward. This is your room, and you have to ask for permission." "It's nothing." The man entered, smiling. "It's my fault. I came unexpected. I have my own apartment nearby, but I don't like it. It's empty and cold." "Yes, Sarah mentioned that. She also mentioned that you're a geologist." "Almost. That's too broad a term. I work in the oil and gas industry, exploring new lands for the presence of useful minerals and the possibility of developing deposits." "Wow, that must be very interesting. I've never been to the north or anywhere like that. Although as a child I was always drawn to nature." "So what's the problem? Next time I come, let's go on a hike. I love that stuff. You'll get into it quickly. You'll know right away if it's for you or not. I'm not suggesting starting with something grand. For example, White Rocks. The trail is even easy in winter. We can just drive there tomorrow. It's only 50 kilometers away. The main thing is to dress warmly." "I can do that, especially since I need to check my jacket." "Great, then wake up early tomorrow. The ships can wait. We'll be back by evening." When Roy left, Anna lay for a long time, staring at the ceiling. Inside her, a flock of butterflies seemed to flutter. The company of this young geologist was pleasant to her. The guy seemed to radiate from within, but Anna felt something else as well. She liked Roy from the first moment she saw him. There was something in him that she hadn't seen in any other man she had ever met. The feeling rose from somewhere deep in her stomach and spread through her body as a pleasant warmth. She wanted to sing, dream, and not think about anything. It's a shame that men like him prefer not to tie themselves down with marriage, Anna thought. No wonder, Sarah thought. His work comes first. Besides, he's been married before. He probably avoids women. Oh, what am I thinking? I've only known the guy for one day, and I'm already spinning love tales. He doesn't even like me. So what if he invited me on a hike? Exactly 1 year had passed since Anna left her husband. Not once since then had she regretted her decision. Life began to move rapidly. Suddenly the woman realized that her salary was enough to cover her basic needs and even leave something to pay off her credit card debts. Soon, Anna paid off all her debts quickly. In just 6 months of intense work with Neil, she began earning her first money from selling ship models. The woman continued to work at the factory, devoting her evenings and weekends to her new hobby. 2 months ago, she finally moved out of her benefactor's home. The couple was, of course, a little sad, especially Neil, but they also had reason to be happy. After all, Anna hadn't gone far. She had simply moved in with Roy. It turned out that the feelings were mutual. It only took a couple of trips to nature for the man to confess to Anna that he had felt a kindred spirit in her from the first moment he saw her. However, he didn't propose marriage. But that was even better. Both had painfully gone through divorces, and both sincerely believed that formalities meant nothing to those who felt genuine feelings. Roy was absent most of the time, but when he returned, he showered his beloved with attention and care. And this time was only theirs. As soon as the door closed behind Roy again, Anna could calmly devote herself to her beloved craft. The woman's work quickly gained recognition, to which Neil certainly contributed, but the acknowledgement flattered Anna and gave her the strength to continue, perfecting her skill. Sometimes Anna would take a well-deserved day off. This day happened regularly, once a month, and she dedicated it solely to herself. Usually, on such a day off, Anna would get ready as early as possible, dress up and simply go for a walk, stopping at cosy cafes, perfume shops, exhibitions, or just interesting places along the way. This is how she drew pleasure, which, as it turned out, gave her much more energy than just lying on the couch during breaks between shifts. And this leisure time proved beneficial for her creative work. Anna often noticed the unusual in the most ordinary landscapes of her small town, in shop windows and signs, even in road signs. Sometimes she saw special shades of colours in the lipstick samples displayed in the window, and then she would carefully mix pigments to paint the sails, stripes on the hulls of ships, or flags on the deck in something similar. This Sunday morning was beautiful. Anna immediately decided to go to the city centre to get some fresh air and gather new impressions. She applied light makeup, put on a warm knitted dress with elegant stitching, and styled her hair beautifully. Satisfied with her reflection in the mirror, the woman threw on a fur coat and called a taxi. "Anna!" someone called out to her as she exited the cafe. "Anna, is that you?" The voice seemed familiar to Anna, and she turned around. Standing before her was Stephen. It was definitely him, although he looked much thinner, unshaven, and somehow not the same as the woman had known him before. All his arrogance, haughtiness, and bravado were gone. Anna even felt sorry for him. "Stephen!" the woman exclaimed in surprise. "Well, this is a meeting. It's been a long time since we saw each other." "Indeed, it's been a while," the man smirked. "And you, I see, are only getting better. The coat of yours is gorgeous, obviously expensive, and the handbag, and you've finally learned how to use lipstick." Was that sarcasm just now? Anna looked intently into her ex-husband's eyes. "Not at all, I was just paying you a compliment. It's clear you've found yourself a decent man and are living it up. I doubt you could afford such an outfit on your factory salary. And the cafe, it's not the cheapest. Since when do you even drink coffee? And you, it seems, still haven't found a new victim to support you. You look terrible, to be honest." Anna laughed. "Are you still unemployed?" "I work as a loader part-time and as a night watchman. I have to live on something. Not everyone is lucky enough to snag a rich sugar daddy." "I see. Well, first of all, I'm glad you finally went against your principles and stooped to ordinary human problems. Working is noble, whether it's as a loader, a cleaner, or anything else. Money doesn't stink. And secondly, I don't have any sugar daddy. Over the years of living together, you should have understood that I can't live off someone else. I earned this coat and purse myself. It turns out that you were consuming almost the entire budget. And without you, there's plenty of money left. See, it's enough for decent clothes and even coffee." "And you've improved your appearance too," Stephen whistled. "I didn't even realise you were such a beauty." "Listen, are you hitting on me?" Anna asked sharply, stepping back from Stephen. "Well, why not? After all, you're my wife, even if you're my ex. And since you don't have anyone, maybe we should give it another try." "That's funny," Anna sneered. "But what makes you think I don't have anyone?" "You said yourself that there's no sugar daddy." "There's no sugar daddy, but there is someone I love. Truly love. Understand? Someone who doesn't use me, but respects and values me." "Oh, really? And where is he?" the ex-husband asked sarcastically. "On an expedition. He'll be back in a few days. I'll introduce you if you like, though I doubt you'll like him." Proudly lifting her head, Anna descended the steps and walked down the sidewalk without looking back. The light frost pleasantly nipped at her skin, and the freshly fallen snow crunched loudly under her heels. The phone vibrated in her pocket. It was a message from Roy. "I love you, and count the days until my arrival." Anna read aloud. Smiling broadly at the passers-by, the girl walked through the city. It seemed as if the whole world was smiling back at her.